Hey guys, this is Lauren Hollows for NOI Education Services, and today I am here with my mini VALG National Vet Conference wrap up. I do hope to be recording an episode in just a couple of weeks with the lovely Vanessa McCarthy, who we had the privilege of sharing our booth with this year at VALG, and it was awesome. So I just wanted to do a really quick wrap up and just talk on a couple of points that I noticed from the VALG conference. So one of the things that I noticed this year, like definitely a lot more participation from schools, which I found very interesting, as well as like a lot of newer people coming into who'd maybe been in vet from like the 1 to 5 sort of year mark or 1 to 3 sort of year mark. That I found really, really interesting. Like I noticed just a lot more than I had in previous years, the increased participation coming from the schools. And that I guess does make a lot of sense in the fact that we've obviously hoping to continue to see upticks in vet in the secondary education space. And I think it's great that schools are then investing in upskilling their staff on that process as well. The second thing I really wanted to talk about was just the awesome participation from ASQA. I thought that Kai Rotman and his team just did a wonderful job. It was really, really good to see so many people going up and having talks with them, getting their issues resolved. And I remember, like, I had quite a few people that came and spoke to me afterwards, and they were like, "Oh, ASQA's not scary at all. Oh, they were really nice. They were really helpful. They were good to speak to." And I think that events like this give that opportunity for people to realize that ASQA is actually not super, super scary. While there's definitely, not always perfect decisions that are made, it's an organization ultimately run by people. So I think that I think going to events like that where ASQA is participating, going up and having talks with the customer service, with the education teams and things like that, really do give you an opportunity to make decisions for yourselves and make a decision about the regulator based on your interactions with them, as opposed to just listening to what everybody else is saying their interactions are with them. Because generally, if a person has a good experience with ASQA, in my opinion, a lot of the time they're not going to communicate about it. If they have a bad experience with the regulator, they are going to be very, very communicative about it. And so it is one of those challenging things for a regulator to be able to establish good relationships with people in industry. And I think that this was a great event for that. There was also a lot of sessions that were run by ASQA. There's going to be a couple of videos coming out over the next couple of weeks. There was a little bit more information provided about the standards. I think that probably if I had one takeaway from my sessions that I did with ASQA, it was that with the new outcome standards that are coming out, and as I said, I'm going to be doing a lot more on this. If you can think about the standards, and with each standard, walk away with 2 questions in your mind. And the question that ASQA said was, what does the student experience look like that follows from that particular outcome standard? I think that that's a valuable way to approach developing your policy. Then the second part that I would add to that, based on multiple conversations with both people within ASQA and also other consultants and other people who've been in this industry for longer than I have, would be what evidence then flows out of that. So that's kind of certainly going to be our approach to how we're updating all of our policies and procedures, is going to be taking a look at the policy and procedure and going, well, first, what does the student experience, what does the staff experience look like that then flows out of this outcome standard? And then what is the evidence that is then going to be produced as a result of that student or staff experience, and put those 2 things together and then make sure that the evidence that you're actually going to be producing can then flow on from that. And I think that if you take that approach to the new outcome standards, to your policies and procedures, then what you're going to find is you are actually going to find that that it makes sense for people, that it can make sense for your students, that it can make sense for your staff, and that you are actually going to be able to evidence in an audit scenario how you're meeting those requirements. So that was really, really good. I loved catching up with NCVER. As you guys know, I'm a very data-driven person. And so finding out the new direction for where they're taking AVET between now and 2029, which seems a lot further away than it probably actually is. but looking at the new AVETMIS that's going to so basically what the new AVETMIS data element definitions and things like that are going to be coming on board, looking at the some of the harmonization that's going to be happening between the different state reporting systems. This is something that I know it's a very, very big job, and I sincerely hope that this project goes well, because as somebody who works with providers to do their smart and skilled reporting or their DTWD reporting or their Queensland state funding reporting, navigating each of those different state funding systems is a freaking nightmare. It's just a terrible job. Each of the systems works so differently, and having some sort of rationalization of those systems, I think, is going to be incredibly helpful for providers. It's obviously a very big job for each of the state funding departments. It's going to be a very big job for some of the SMS, from some of the SMS systems out there. And I know that the plan is kind of 2028 to have all the fee-for-service RTOs reporting, and then bring in each of the state funding models over that next period. I think that's going to be very interesting. It may well be like 2031, 2032 before we finally get people like DTWD and VIP, big reporting systems on board. Historically, they are the two states that do like to hold their own for the longest period of time, but it was really good to see that there is an effort happening in that space, and I'm looking forward to getting into a little bit more of the detail on some of those data element definitions that are going to be coming out. And then the last one was just booth chats. So this is the first year that NOI Education Services did have a booth. We shared it with Prickly to Sweet and Vanessa McCarthy. Because we are both women, we did set the booth up with we had a couch, we had these nice rugs on the floor, and everyone kind of said to us that it was very much like an experience of coming into somebody's living room and having a chat. And that was the experience that we were hoping to have with so many people. And I must have sat with 2 or 3 dozen different companies and literally just sat and had a 20 to 30 minute chat about business operations and where improvements could be made in the business and things that they were hoping to do and hoping to achieve, and services that they were hoping to offer and ways that they were looking to improve and increase the quality of their business over the next 12 to 18 months. And it was just a really wonderful experience. Previously, I've obviously spoken at VELG the last, I think 10 years. And so it's always been a rush at the end, and it's been really short conversations. So the format that we had this year, being able to interact with so many more of you and have much more deep and meaningful conversations about your businesses and ways that could be improved and what you were passionate about in industry and everything like that, was just a really wonderful, heartwarming experience for me. I think probably Vanessa felt the same way. I know my team very much felt the same way. It was awesome, to have one of our newer team members there, and she was kind of learning through that process as well. And just also obviously being able to catch up with all the regular people. So, the entire crew at Mr. Wed, the entire crew at Accelerate, the gorgeous girls over at Hawkeye Consultancy, Dan Hill and his team at Spec Training, Angela and her team at Vivacity. We're just really, really wonderful to catch up with everyone. We all operate across the vastness of Australia and this wonderful industry. So being able to, catch up and just exchange ideas and work so collaboratively, like so many of us consultants are now doing, I just think is really, really wonderful and does contribute to the overall quality of our industry. So that was just kind of my thoughts on it. I just wanted to share that with you guys. And again, just say thank you so much for everybody that came up and said hello and said thank you and is finding some value in this channel. This is the whole reason why we do this there's no monetary gain for us in this aspect in any form, but being able to get really good information out there, being able to help you guys make better decisions about how you can run your businesses to make them, more effective, better quality, get the value out of, the investment that we're putting into them. That's 100% why we do this. That's why we're going to continue to do this. We've got some awesome series coming out, which I'm really excited about. Obviously, we're going to do a full breakdown of the new RTO standards. We are also going to do a full breakdown on something a little bit new. So we're going to be doing an RTO operation series, and we're going to be doing a series to help you guys understand and support your data so that you can actually manage your businesses with a little bit more accountability and things like that as well. So lots of good things continuing to come out of this channel. My name is Lauren Hollows for NOI Education Services. I hope you guys have a great day.